All right, here we go, fourth graders. It's your next video, and this one is on comparing decimals. So we're going to use what we learned about fractions that have denominators of 10 and 100 to help us understand our decimals, which is what we did in the last part. Now we're going to compare decimals, and we're going to use the same strategies that I know that we used with whole numbers in all the other grades coming before this. We can compare numbers digit by digit, okay? So we're going to use that to help us. So first, let's look at just a basic one, review, no decimals involved. If I was comparing these two numbers, I would start on the left-hand side, and I would compare one digit at a time. So I would look here first, and those are the same. So it's not really useful to me. But I would jump over here and I would see, okay, 60 is greater than 50. So 265 is greater than 256. And I figured that out because I went digit by digit. I can do that with even bigger numbers. So let's say I've got 26,492, 26,942. So I go digit by digit. So I started here. 20,000 and 20,000 are the exact same thing. 6,000 and 6,000 are the exact same thing. But if I come to here, I've got a difference. And when there's a difference, I can compare. I see that 400's less than 900. I don't need to compare anything else. I'm done. So 26,492 is less than 26,942. So you've done that before. That's a review. Go digit by digit and then compare. We do that same thing with decimals. So here I've got two decimals. I've got 46 hundredths and I've got 64 hundredths. I always pretend my decimals are money. Would you like to have 46 cents or 64 cents? Which one's more? 64 is more than 46. So I know already that 46 hundredths is less than 64 hundredths. But I can check my work by going digit by digit. 0 and 0, they are the same. 4 tenths, 6 tenths. 4 tenths is less. So 46 hundredths is less than 64 hundredths. Let's look at these. It can get confusing when you have a different number of digits on either side or on both sides of the decimal. So I'm going to teach you a strategy, and I'm actually going to go to the end of my slides, and I want you to jot this down. Line it up, stack it up, fill it up, compare. Write that down. Pause and write it now. Line it up, stack it up, fill it up, compare. So the first thing I'm going to do is line up the decimals. And I'm going to stack them. So decimal, decimal. Now I'm going to stack them up. So 0, 3 tenths, 0, 3 hundredths. Okay, so I lined up the decimals, stacked up the numbers. Do you see how the decimals are in line? That is super duper important. Now, it was line it up, stack it up, fill it up. Do you see how this just has 2 digits and there's an empty spot here above this 3? I'm going to fill that up with what's called a trailing 0. That's the mathematical term, is trailing 0. I call them ghost zeros because it's there whether it's written or not, right? Because 3 tenths and 30 hundredths are the same thing. So trailing 0 or ghost 0, but basically what I did was I made it so that every digit has something to compare to. Now I'm going to go place by place. 0 and 0 are the same. 3 is greater than 0, so 3 tenths is greater than 3 hundredths. Let's look at the next one. First thing I'm going to do is line up decimals. Next thing I'm going to do, fill in the digits. 0 and 9 tenths, 0, 90 hundredths. Step 3, fill it up if I need to so that they are the same. Everything has something to compare to. Now compare. same, same, same. So that means these numbers are equal. 9/10 and 90/100 are equal. You already knew that though. Okay, let's do it again. Line them up, fill them up, stack them up, and the last step is fill it if you have to. If you have empty spaces, fill them up with zeros. Now compare. Same, whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Undo. Same, same. 7 is greater than 0. So 37/100 is greater than 3/10. Let's do it again. Line it up, stack it up, fill up empty spaces, and then compare. Same, different. 1 is less than 4, so it's less. Let's go again. Same thing's true when you have whole numbers. Step 1, line up those decimals. Start stacking the numbers, 0 and 4/100. Do you notice how I'm writing it exactly how I see it? This is the first number, so it's the first one in the stack. 6 and 14/100. Now, everybody seems to have a partner here. I don't have any digits that don't have a match, so I don't need to fill anything up, but I am ready to compare. Same, different. 0 is less than 1, so, whoops, I went backwards. So that decimal is less than the other decimal. I can also look at it like this is $6.04. This is $6.14. Okay, here's where it can get tricky. Line up those decimals. I've got 15 and 62/100. And then I have 9. The 9 is right before the decimal here, so it's got to be there as well. 37. Here's where I'm going to fill in an open spot. And I'm ready to compare. 1 is greater than 0. So, no more comparing necessary. $15.62, or 15 and 62/100, is greater than 9 and 37/100. Oops, too far. Okay, here's another one. Line up the decimals, fill in the numbers. Fill in any open spaces, and then compare. Go ahead, pause and compare one digit at a time. Come back and check your answer. I see 0 and 0 are the same. 5 and 4 are different. 5 is greater, so 5/10 is greater than 49/100. Okay, line them up. Decimal, decimal, 0.08, 0.8. Oop, I have a spot I have to fill in. You know, some kids would say those are equal, but after they fill it in, they can see that they're not. So I'm ready to compare. Same, different. 0 is less than 8, so 8/100 is less than 8/10. All right, your turn. You're going to stack them, fill them in. Line up your decimals, stack up your numbers, fill in any open places, then compare and come back and check your work. All right, let's start with this top one. I stacked it up, lined it up. Now I'm just ready to compare. So 4 is less than 8, therefore 4 and 49/100 is less than 8 and 87/100. Okay, now when I come down here, I hope that you noticed that you've got some weird open spots. So you need to put a fill in there and a fill in there. Now we can compare. And I've got 0 is less than 4. So 4 and 2/100 is less than 40 and 2/100. Look, they both say 402, but where the decimal is made a big difference. This is $4.02. This is $40.20, as you can see here. Okay, I believe that is it. Nope, one more. You're going to do this one. Pause, line it up, stack it up, fill it up, compare, then come back and check. Okay, so I lined them up, lined up those decimals. I stacked in my digits. I had to fill in a 0 for an open spot, and that made it super easy to compare. 0's less than 2, so 2 and 65/100 is less than 26 and 5/100. Okay, you are off to do your second part and the last part of your slides. There are bonus slides at the end. If you would like to do them, you can, but they are optional. Your code word is compare. And after you complete your slides, you have a Google quiz, like a quick check, so that I can see what you learned in this fraction and decimal unit, because this is the end. So you're going to go back and take that quiz, and then you are done, and we'll just do a fun activity next week for math. Okay, so again, I'm going to reiterate that because I just said a bunch of things all at the same time. Code word is compare. Do part 2 of your slideshow. Then do the end of unit quick check, and then you are done with your math for the week. So you're turning in 2 things this week, a slideshow and a Google form quick check. And then next week we'll just do something fun in math instead of a lesson. Okay, off you go. Do your math.